Well, good afternoon. We told you that after a year and a half when we use the product that we do a final review. We're going to do that with Tropic Marin today. We went all in. So when I'm going to use Tropic Marin's product, we went with the Pro ReefSalt, All for Reef, their elements A and K, the Reefactif, the Phosphate, the Limi, and the Plus NP, the NP BactoBalance. We kind of wanted the full Monty so that we could have a good fair test of their product and see how we liked it. The Pro ReefSalt we started to use mainly because we were told that it has all of the trace elements in it, and that as long as you do your water changes, that should be good for the first year to 2 years to cover everything you have. So you can see how, the Alveopora, I've got some torches in there, I got a Zoa Garden, and again, this is a year and a half into it. These were little tiny frags when we first started doing this. Going across, you can see the Goniopora, nice, widely open. They weren't open the whole time, and we did have some issues when it came to using the trace elements and the All for Reef. Some of these corals just did not like it too much, and I'm going to tell you why. And as I found out through test and error, what was happening. So we're going to start with the Pro ReefSalt. And what happened was I was getting my ICP test back after about 5 months of using Pro Reef, having the corals in there, and they were always coming back with no trace elements. And again, my corals were tiny, and most of them were LPS, they weren't SPS, and so basically shouldn't have really been uptaken too much. So I reached out to Tropic Marin, and they says, well, we have all these videos for you to check out, and it kind of explains everything. So you can go to Bulk Reef Supply or right into YouTube and check out the videos. So we did that. So let's go to the videos, and here's one of them that we watched, and let me turn that audio on.
And all of them 1350 ppm. And when it comes to those trace and minor elements, you will get the full range that's found in natural seawater, making this salt capable of carrying most reef tanks through their first 1 to 2 years without any need to dose trace elements.
Okay, so I think I heard that loud and clear. I should be able to go 1 or 2 years on most reef tanks without having to dose any trace elements. Again, I'm going very light. I don't have heavy corals. I didn't buy colonies. I bought little tiny frags. So, it should be no problem. Second video that I saw here, let me turn this one on.
And it is definitely the salt for any reefer who wants to keep their major and minor elements at concentrations found in natural seawater.
Okay, I do. So, and that's why I said I like the videos, I like what they're saying, reputable company, I'm going to buy the Pro ReefSalt. Now the Pro ReefSalt's about $40 a bucket more expensive than their classic salt and most other salts on the market. But since it is pharmaceutical grade, since it has all these trace elements, and I saw a bunch of videos that were done by Tropic Marin saying, you'll save all this money, why not buy this salt that has everything in it? Those videos have disappeared. I can't find them at all anymore, but they were out there. I watched them myself, listened to reps from Tropic Marin say, why buy it separately? It's all in the salt. Okay. Now, I saw this. I'm going to go back to the beginning. And I appreciate Bulk Reef Supply coming out with this video. It's been a little while after all the other ones, but they explain exactly what Pro ReefSalt will do for you, and basically a timeline of when things might go to the point where you've hit a precipice.
Aren't enough for trace elements. There's trace elements in here, but it'll only take you so far, and they explain that to you.
It's actually both sides of that conversation. Yeah. So a lot of times the manufacturer just trying to sell you more, products, more trace elements, more better, right? Not in this case. Actually, in this case, they're putting the trace elements here to begin with, and it's not fuzzy language like all important ones, like some of the cheaper ones out there. They're actually putting them in here so that the water changes do work. And so the advice that they tell you is probably for the first year, if not 2 years, doing water changes is an adequate solution. And again, adequate because they're actually in here to begin with.
Yeah.
And it's only after that point when the corals start to go from tiny little frags to robust colonies, and you're filled out your tank, that no longer doing the water change is an adequate solution.
Okay, so there they said it. And that's so very true, and that's what I learned on my own after spending the money that I needed. Now, I did send a text or a request to Tropic Marin to ask them why this is happening. According to the videos I saw, it has all the trace elements. I shouldn't have to add trace elements for up to 2 years, and I got this email back. Frank, unfortunately, I don't have a specific research recommendation for you. It is the reason I do so many videos. That is the way that I could recommend the Tropic Marin approach to things. It is just what we have come to believe as proper as best care practices in over 60 years of being in business. An example of the kind of thing I mean is that we do not believe a 10 to 20% water change will replenish much of anything. If you're changing 10% of the water with natural seawater concentrations, then you're replenishing 10% of the trace elements that have been consumed. That doesn't do very much. It is points like that I'm talking about. So I appreciate that and knowing that. But again, a lot of the videos that have since disappeared off YouTube did say that, why are you buying this separately when it's all on the salt? Why? And I wanted to believe it, so I bought the salt. And the truth of the matter is I had to start buying trace elements. Can't do this. So I went out and I stopped using All for Reef altogether. I just quit dosing All for Reef. I did water changes. I changed my salt and I went to Aquaforce Reef Salt. Got it right here. And that has the calcium, the alkalinity, and the magnesium that's very close to Pro Reef because I didn't want a big change in my tank. However, it doesn't have the trace elements in it, and it's a fraction of the cost of the Pro Reef salt. They're healthy. So after a year and a half, we're not going to continue on with Pro Reef salt with Tropic Marin. We're not going to be using their All for Reef any longer. I'll also say price-wise, I mean, if you start using 10 or 20 milliliters a day, you're more than likely going to have to dose magnesium anyway, and everybody I've seen says it's always low in magnesium. They have to dose magnesium. And for the price of the product to maintain those levels, you could probably go the Kalkwasser way, do your calcium and alkalinity through Kalkwasser, and then add your magnesium and save a ton of money. It's a fraction of the cost of using All for Reef. If you have a tank that's less than 100 gallons, it's not likely you'll ever have to use All for Reef. Using a good salt, doing your water changes, and using a good trace element will probably do the trick for you. BactoBalance I will continue to use. I think it's a great product. It does keep the phosphates and nitrates in ratio. I do like it. Reefactif I'll continue to use. It's a great carbon dosing, very weak carbon dosing alternative. I use it between water changes and add a little bit to the salt when I do water changes. It's way cheaper than buying the active salt. And I'm not sure why again, you're going to pay $40 more for a bucket of active salt when you could just buy this and use it as it's designed to use and add it to your salt during your water changes if you choose to. We're going to continue to use that. Phosphide, going to continue to use that. Good product. The corals love it. It dissolves easy. It mixes well, and it doesn't increase your phosphate level in the tank, but it provides a phosphate particulate that your corals need to grow. So that being said, I hope this was good for everybody. There it is. So we sure do appreciate you guys joining us, and I hope this helps you to save some money and be prepared to grow some nice corals. We appreciate you watching. Hit subscribe below if you will. We appreciate your support. And FishyFins says goodbye. We'll see you in your reef tanks.